Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so yeah, sorry about starting a little bit later tonight. I had to go pick Christine up from work. She's back at work now after a couple of weeks off. And she was doing a later finish tonight, so
so I won't be here over the next couple of nights too.
Yeah, it'll be a couple of nights. Yeah, but I might have I might be having a couple of nights off to have a bit of time off before June 30. Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, so yeah, tonight we're going to be building Trevor's PC. So it's an RTX 3080 rig, Ryzen 5600X. Gigabyte B550M DS3HAC motherboard, and we've got 32 gigabytes of Corsair RAM, 3200 megahertz CL16, and we've got a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. We've also got an 850 watt power supply here, 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, and we're going to be putting it in the Antec D600 Flux case. So same case as last night, a little bit Groundhog Day, but this one's an AMD system. Last night was an Intel system. So let's not waste any more time and let's get stuck right into the build. Alright, so we'll get out what we need from in here. There we go, this is our motherboard. So this one is a very similar motherboard to the MSI B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard. They sort of go on special and competing weeks essentially.
George says hi, Tim, and see you.
Hey George, how you going?
Hey, how are ya?
Alrighty, so we're just using the CPU. We don't actually need the cooler there. It's funny. There's a lot of people who have them just sort of lying around the house, and occasionally someone will get on like Marketplace and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, here we go, unused AMD cooler, $40." and it's like, yeah, they're worth like, you know, probably $10.
Oh, I was gonna say 10. Like $5-10.
Yeah. I sell them. I sell surplus ones that I end up with at about $5 each in bulk. So.
You might have been coming from outside. It smells like tuna. Somebody's burning some tuna.
Someone's burning some tuna on the barbecue, eh?
Yeah.
Oh no. Seafood fail. You got to get barbecued seafood done just right. It's not for the freaking barbecue noob. Alrighty. So I've actually got another SSD. I'm just out of them at the moment. I thought I actually had one more, but apparently I don't. But that's okay. We'll install it in the bottom slot there, which is going to be concealed by our graphics card. Then we'll leave the top slot unpopulated, and I'll chuck another SSD in there before I ship it. Alrighty, so we got our memory here, 32 gigabytes. So we got 4 slots, 2 channels. That's why we're installing them one slot apart, because the CPU can talk to both channels at the same time. And CPUs and memory, they're kind of joined at the hip, right? So you can't really have one without the other. Alrighty, so we've got all of our main things on the motherboard there. So next we'll get this cooler. So it's a Thermaltake TH360 all-in-one liquid cooler. Alright, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nothing else hiding in there. I got a young kid who wants me to save some boxes, so I'm going to save that cooler box. Alrighty, so what are we going to have to use here? We're going to have to use this one. And it's like we have to use the custom backplate here. Alrighty. So these are a little bit of fun to put together here. So you've got this metal plate. And then you've got these screws and these washers. Oh, hang on, I'm doing this the wrong way around, because one direction is for Intel and one is for AMD. So when you get the screws through the right hole on the right angle, they kind of sit in place nicely. Then you put the washer down like that and you get them in place. So it's a little bit more fiddly, but it's not too bad. Like if it's your first time, you'll probably be able to muddle through it. And then yeah, obviously once you've done them a few times, it's not so bad. And there goes one of the feet. Definitely going to need that. Alrighty, so there we go. There's our bolts through the back plate there. We've also got this piece here of anti-static plastic. And we need to stick that on . just like that. And when we've got that last piece in place, now we have our backplate prepped and ready to use on our AM4 socket motherboard. So I need to remove the standard AMD mounting kit. Oh, really? So remove the standard AMD plate and we install our custom plate.
You'd work back, have a new big dog as well.
Oh, babe, can you pick something up off the floor? See, there's a little feet that sticks there. Yeah, cheers. Oh, I'm dropping more shit on the floor. Yeah.
And Trevor says, hey Tim, how often do I have to change the liquid? You don't.
Oh, you don't have to change the liquid for the life of the unit. They're factory sealed units, and for the life of them, you don't have to empty them or refill them or anything like that. So.
Tim?
Yeah.
Anthony says, hey Tim, my PC you built for me is still going great. Just upgraded the CPU cooler.
Oh, nice. What have you got now?
Tim, George wants to know you recommended Bitdefender Total Security, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've used it personally for like what 17, 18 years now. I think it is. It's been a while.
The whole time I've known you.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're good. The Eastern Europeans, they know their security, and they're not. It's not a Russian company or anything like that. It's not like Kaspersky. I know a lot of people in Australia and America and through Europe, like Western Europe, are very much supporting Ukraine right now and sort of boycotting people. Yeah, have you just seen that? My friend's just posted photos that she's pregnant. Like she's obviously been pregnant for a while.
Boys. She's having twins.
Oh no, really? For her first, she's having twins. Excellent. Alright. So we're going to put our thermal compound down now. So there's a number of different patterns that you can use. But in general, an X pattern is pretty good for an AMD CPU. Doesn't have to be exact. And on coolers that don't have pre-applied thermal compound, they'll normally have a protective plate there to protect it from scratches.
Grace is alone. She's got that pregnancy glow. George says Romanians.
Yep, that's correct.
Anthony has a Cooler Master MA620P.
Cooler Master M86. Oh, yep. I know the one.
I don't know, it's not even. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I know that one.
Yep.
That one's cool. I
Yep.
like that.
It's like the smaller version of the Hyper 212X.
Yeah.
Alright. So just screw them down with your thumb, then go around opposite corners and tighten them down. These have got spring bolts, so you should get to a point where they're pretty tight. Don't try to over tighten them or force them too tight. You should feel that it's getting tighter, and then, yeah, just firm.
Bite him, Mooney. Bite him.
Alrighty. And that is our pump mounted. So it can either be like this in our case, or we could do it like this in our case. So because the pipes, they don't really give us too much of a choice here, because the pipes are on that side. If we do it this way, the pipes kind of look a little bit overextended, so we'll probably do it around this way here tonight, which won't be a problem. We don't have an RGB fan on the back. Oh no, wait, we will have an RGB fan on the back. No, that changes things. So we'll just have to do it like this. It's no problem. Yep, that's all good. So I'll cut out all of these. What's up?
I am thumping her head again and she bit his penis again. He can't do anything because he ain't got no penis.
One dog was humping the other dog, and one dog bit its dick.
Yeah.
And I think it just did it again.
I think she got him good. He dropped like a sack of shit. You need to learn not to try that.
Mate, you got to be careful with the jewels.
He's just a baby.
I know he doesn't know yet, but yeah, fuck man, you got to be careful with that shit.
He's sitting down now. Probably feeling sorry for himself.
That's hilarious.
Tim,
Yeah.
Manish wants to know what was the budget for this PC, if you don't mind me asking.
I would normally be able to give you some sort of an idea. I think it's mid-2s or something like that. Trevor, I did the invoice for Trevor a few weeks ago. I only just paid like the other week, like last week on, I don't know, Friday or something like that. I mean, we can work it out. We got a Ryzen 5600X. That's like what, 350. Got a motherboard 150, so that's 500. We got the cooler. This is, what do we got here? Thermal take 360. There, what? About 180. So it's at 680. In case 120, 800. And then the most expensive component is the RTX 3080. That's 1400. So yeah, it's probably considering it's got 3080, it's probably going to be over $3,000, I would imagine. Send me a message. I can look up the invoice and tell you the exact figure. I should know all this shit. No, unfortunately, I'm really bad at remembering exact numbers. I can give you ballpark numbers, but I do too many quotes a day for people. Different configurations, they all sort of blur together in my mind after a while. Yeah.
What do we do the first day at Bunnings?
Yeah, I saw that. Alrighty. So that is one prepped radiator ready to go. And we'll turn our attention now to the case. Alrighty.
You sound really pathetic sometimes.
It's like he doesn't realise he sounded like he just said, yeah, I know. Alright, so got our motherboard cable installed. We need 2 for our graphics card. One for our CPU. So yeah, don't go forcing any cables into your power supply. If it doesn't fit, you've probably got it around the wrong way. Because some of them have 8 pins on both ends, so you got to watch that. Pretty much if you try to push it in and it feels like it doesn't want to fit, there's a reason for that. It's not just being difficult.
Says thanks for the info, man.
Nah, that's all good.
Trevor wants to know how many USB ports does it have?
This one has a total, so we've got 8 on the back of the motherboard plus 2 on the case, so you got a total of 10 there, and then you can add additional USB ports. It doesn't cost much extra. So like I could put a little card. I could put a little card in there, you know, with like 7 extra ports for like another $40. So like if the 10 that you've got isn't enough, there are other options for that as well. You don't have to change anything significant. But yeah, you should be right. You should be right with 8 on the back and 2 on the top of the case there as well. Alrighty. So now we've got our power supply installed. So we just got these other cables to deal with. So that cable that was plugged into the controller there, that's the reset button. It says LED, but we'll hook it up as the reset button because we're going to hook this controller up to be controlled with the motherboard and software and stuff. So then you don't have to sit there and press the LED button like 20 times to get it on the setting that you want. That could be painful. It's good if you don't have like the header for it on the motherboard that's going in and stuff, but if you've got the header for it, it's much nicer to have it sorted out with software. Because if you want to change something, you can just instantly change it to what you want. Yeah.
Trevor says, yeah, 10 is plenty.
Yeah. I figured as much.
He says, be interesting to know how much more performance between 3080 and 2080 Super. I can pretty much approximate for you. You'd be looking at about a 30% plus increase in frames per second at like 1440p. Between a 2080 Super and a 3080. Because I think, or even a little bit more maybe. Because I'm pretty sure it's like 30% in performance increase between 2080 Ti and 3080. Like 3080 non-Ti. So just to give you a bit of an idea, it was a solid generational leap between 20 series and 30 series. Like a lot of the people who had like 1080 Ti's, they sort of saw the stats for 20 series and they were like, it's better, but what I've got's still pretty good. I'm pretty happy with what I got, and they just sort of skipped 20 series. But all of those people who skipped 20 series, as soon as like 3080 specs were released, they were just like, "Oh, give me right now. I want that upgrade." So a lot of people there, yeah, chose to upgrade, and it was a big thing in the Nvidia CEO's little. It was during COVID. His little from his kitchen product launch thing that he did for 30 series cards. He even called out the group of people by name. He goes, and I quote, he goes, "To our Pascal gaming friends," Pascal is the generation for 1080 Ti, we now can, I paraphrase here, he goes, now is a safe time to upgrade. You're right to skip 20 series. We get that, but now 30 series, this has enough performance that it makes sense for you to upgrade now. And that was his kind of sentiment during his little presentation from his kitchen. So just to give you a bit of an idea as to where it sort of sits.
Trevor says you only game on 1920 by 1080.
Yeah, so you're only gaming at 1080. So yeah, I would pretty much think of this as about a 30% increase in FPS. So a good solid noticeable jump up in performance from 20 series. Alrighty, I cut out all those cable ties, those little ones there, and I'm just replacing it with one actual plastic zip tie. All these cables here are just the RGB and fan cables for our 3 fans pre-installed in the front of our case. And instead of them being all tied up together, I've just sort of bunched them together in a pile and just sort of tucked them around the lip of that case there. Then if anything happens, if there's like a dead fan and you have to like pull them out, you've just got one cable tie to cut off there, and then you just bunch the rest of the excess there and just sort of tuck them around the lip there, and they'll just sort of sit there nicely, and you don't have to go and fuck around with all these individual ties just to replace one fan. Alrighty, and so the rest of the stuff is our front panel audio. So we've got a speaker and microphone jack on the top of our case, and then we've got our power buttons and power LED, so the little power light on the top of the case there that comes on when you turn it on, and all that, plus our reset button. It'll say LED up there, but like I said earlier, I'm going to hook the RGB controls for this up to the motherboard there, so you can control it all with software. You don't have to worry about sitting here pressing the LED button again and again and again and again and again and again. Gets old. You accidentally click one past the setting you want, now you got to press it another 40 times. Alrighty. So I don't think we'll need to worry about too much else back here for now. We might go ahead and get, that's my keyboard, don't worry about that. We can go ahead and get our motherboard and cooler in the case. So I'll just drop this rear fan down, and this will give me a bit more room to mount the cooler. And then I do have a IO shield to install here. There we go.
Alrighty.
You're a crap. Get angry.
Oh, hang on. One thing I've got to do quickly is got a micro ATX board into an ATX case. I've got a couple of offsets just to move around here quickly. Alrighty. So one thing I'm going to get in place beforehand is a CPU power cable. Go.
Hang on a sec. Oh, I did wipe them. Oh. Sugar. No, got no cheese. So you don't use the fucking sugar again.
I was cooking the other night, and me cooking is like, you know, I'm alright on the grill sort of thing, but when I cook, I usually like to include,
you know, the best flavors from the East. So what I mean by that is, of course, like monosodium glutamate or MSG. So I like to add a lot of that to you know, like they like to, you know, they like to take MSG out of certain foods. Anyway, I went to make myself some noodles, and I just thought, oh yep, I normally add a teaspoon of MSG to it just to add back a bit of the flavour that they take out to be politically correct. And yeah, my wife had swapped the freaking MSG for a big thing of sugar, so I ended up adding sugar to my food instead of MSG. And so MSG is like the king of flavour. It tastes like salty, sweet, freaking everything all at once, right? And yes, I was quite disappointed when I got a sugary dinner. Sugary noodles.
That would have been so gross.
It was disgusting.
Tim,
Yeah.
Trevor wants to know, how would I change the colour of the RGB lights, program or a button?
Yeah, program. It's all. I'm gonna hook it all up by software, so you don't have to touch any of the buttons.
Tim?
Yeah.
Tim on YouTube says, hey.
Hey man, how you going? Good to have you here. Almost forgot we had to chuck in an extra fan here. Jeez, nearly forgot to install this RGB thing. So there's our pump plugged in to the CPU header there. Nice and easy. Okay, so everything's all coming along nicely. We've got our CPU power cable plus the RGB fan at the back there hooked up to our controller. We've got these fans here from the radiator. So we've got a couple of spare fan headers there. Or we can use the splitter. We're probably going to have to use the splitter one way or another. So we might go ahead and do that. Very good. Alrighty. Yeah.
I've shared those photos of that douchebag that tried to scam me with the sugar daddy thing. I've been meaning to post it.
That was fucking hilarious. Alrighty. So I just got one bunch around all of those fan cables. Then we've got the Thermaltake RGB cables. So they've got their own proprietary connection, or there's a couple of other people who use it as well, I think. So we can daisy chain them up.
female friends are seeing it and pissing themselves laughing.
Yeah.
Does this happen to dudes? Do you get like sugar mums?
No, fuck no. Fuck no. This is a one-way street.
Oh,
The
jeez.
only time it would ever happen is from another dude. So yeah, trust me. Your average guy, if that happens to them, it's just another dude, just like what's doing it to you. So it's nothing to be excited about.
Okay.
Believe me.
Fair enough. I was just curious.
Okay.
Oh, it's so
So that's the one thing about the Thermaltake cables. They've got this thick plastic around them, so you've got to be a little bit strategic with what you're doing with them. And so in our case, we're just going to leave those around there. We'll just bunch those SATA cables up. I will be installing a hard drive, so I'm just going to leave a connector there at the end loose. Alrighty. So now we'll put that front panel audio cable in place. We'll slide that one down up behind the motherboard there. Very good. So next here's our front panel connections, so our power, reset and case lights. There's a hard drive LED and one of those cables went the wrong direction. Alright, there we go. Hard drive LED light. We have our reset switch. And then we have our power LEDs. They're the two individual ones. Because you really don't want to reverse the polarity on that one. If not, you'll have a light that comes on whenever your computer's turned off, and the light will turn off whenever your computer turns on. So if you've ever had a PC that's like that, that's because the person installed the little cables there around the wrong way. Tisk, 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 right? No, it's not that bad. Oh, and for our USB 3, there's nothing we can do except come in down there. Kind of sucks, but
That's alright. Alright, so our cable for our fan controller. So I need to plug in down there. And then and there we go, there's our RGB controller hooked up. Alrighty, so I'm going to chuck a few more screws in the motherboard because now that I've got all that stuff plugged in down the bottom, I've got all the cables routed discreetly that I want to route discreetly. Alrighty, it's coming along. So I'm going to go ahead and install a SATA cable here. Because I'm going to sort of stash it away here behind our graphics card, so we're not even going to see where the SATA cable is plugged in. You might be thinking, what SATA cable? Why do we need a SATA cable? It's because there's an 8TB hard drive going in here tomorrow. I just don't have it right now. I thought I did have it, but I don't have it. That was my bad. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It would appear as though I wasn't thinking. Alrighty. So we're at the end of the build now. Everything else is all hooked up and ready to go. We've just got our graphics card to chuck in. Alrighty, we're using slots 2 and 3 here. Alrighty, here's our graphics card. I think the only bit of sticky is over the stupid Gigabyte logo on the fans that 85% of users are never even going to see. Oh, look at that. You can actually see part of that USB. Sorry, that's not a cable. I should probably do it. I should probably do the same thing I did there, down here. Then you won't see anything. Christine loves to inspect the graphics cards.
Yes. Yes, yes. There's a cat in my seat. He's only there because he's cold. There's the pickles. Can't stay there. That's my seat.
And so yeah, Trevor, if you wanna run some quick comparison benchmarks, you can run you can download the same benchmarks that I run and run it on your current rig if you've still got it. I'm not sure what the deal is there. Alrighty, yeah.
I'm gonna put together a budget PC. For me, is the Gigabyte GTX 1660 any good for budget?
Yeah, man. Yeah. If you can find some stock, there's a little bit of stock around at the moment.
He says that's one chunky GPU.
Oh yeah, this is an RTX 3080.
They're always chunky.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna have to lay this down a little bit here because of our chunky Thermaltake cables. See how they got all that extra around the edge there. Once I put this down the first time, it's going to be nice and easy. And once those chunky cables, the sleeve ones there that were sort of sticking out, once they're sort of pressed down a little bit there, they'll fit nicer in that space. I mean, they're just sleeve cables, so they've just got, you know, regular size, thin, tiny cables inside them, so they don't have any sort of strength to them or anything like that. They just get like flattened out. Alrighty, so this is the point where we get to see whether everything works right and whether Tim hooked everything up right, or did he make some sort of stupid mistake because he wasn't thinking. No, I think I'm doing alright, better than last night. I started getting a headache last night, partway through. I mean, we can see that we're getting some power to the motherboard and stuff because the lights for our memories come on. But interesting. Alright, I'm going to pull out our Let me just try and turn this on from directly shorting out the header. Oh, and look at that. Turns straight on. So we could have a faulty power switch there. Do you want to share the screen, babe? We probably have a faulty power switch, I'd say. So what was happening then is I was pressing the power on button and power wasn't coming on. And so essentially what that means is I've either got something fundamentally wrong with the motherboard, or there could be something wrong with the cable between the button and the switch there. And so I pulled off the power button switch from the motherboard, and then I just shorted that particular header with my screwdriver. I know which one it is, and so when I did that, that's why it just turned straight on then. So if you're wondering what the fuck was going on there, so that's nothing to worry about. So sometimes those switches can die, the cable could be damaged inside and stuff. Fortunately, you've got another cable there that is fundamentally the same thing connected to another switch, so we don't have to worry about pulling this whole thing apart over something as minor as that. We could just use the other button there as the power on if it's a case of the switch. But we're not going to waste any time here tonight sort of delving into what is the problem. Is it the cable? Is it the button? Is it? We're not going to go through any of that troubleshooting process. We're just going to move on with the build tonight because we don't really need that for anything else. And then I'll do some other checks on it tomorrow when I'm adding the hard drive and the other SSD. So yeah, don't stress. But for now, I need to go in and manually short the reset header and get her to reboot. And so before we do anything else, we'll just knock this BIOS update out of the way. Then we're definitely all compatible with Windows 11. So Windows 11 is a free upgrade for anyone who wants it. I just install Windows 10 because it's easier, because if people still need Windows 10 for whatever reason, I don't have to go through any bullshit with that. And then if anyone wants to use Windows 11, it's a free upgrade. You don't need to buy another copy of Windows. You don't need to reinstall Windows really. It's a couple of clicks within Windows, and within half an hour or so you'll have Windows 11.
Tim,
Yep.
will the voices, the case is getting is the H5100 Flow white.
Oh yeah, yep.
Tim,
Yep.
George wants to know when he installs his extra data
HDD drives, will Windows ask him to reactivate? Oh, sorry, SATA. SATA drives, not HDD.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You'll have to initialize your drives when you use them for the first time. So that's just a couple of clicks in disk management. And so yeah, the hot swap bays are installed, but I don't think hot swap is actually enabled. So just plug them into the hot swap bays when the computer's turned off, and then just turn it on normal. Because hot swap can cause problems with other things, so I don't want to leave it enabled for you to have any problems, if you know what I mean. Because you won't normally need it. Because yeah, hot swap is something you have to manually enable for each SATA header on the motherboard in BIOS. So each header's got to be manually turned on.
George says, yep, disk management.
What's that?
George says, yep, disk management.
Yeah, it's really easy. When you have new drives that haven't been initialized and you go into the disk management tool, Windows will automatically detect them if they're hooked up correctly, and it'll ask you, do you want to create a new, you want to activate the drive, and it'll say you select the GPT option, and then once you've got it set up as GPT, then you can just right click on the bar that's up there for the drive, and then just select new simple volume, and then it's just a simple wizard to set that up. So yeah, no real dramas. fluffy cat with his fluffy cat hair. You're a fucking fluffy cat.
His hair gets everywhere. Like, you think something's clean? No. No.
That is
Covered in fucking fluffy cat hair.
Yep.
Oh, puppies. One's held up and the other one's staring at me.
Mooney's staring at you.
How did you guess?
New pup's had a big feed. Now he's ready for bed. He's been running around all day after Mooney. Alrighty, so obviously we are in the land of the dollary-do. Imagine if you legitimately didn't have internet. Alrighty, so luckily Windows has our correct drivers, unlike last night with the more modern motherboard with all the new stuff. We had to use our generic Wi-Fi adapter. And so all we need from here is Cinebench for our stress test. Alrighty, that's all going on. So let's get some other stuff happening. Alrighty, well we don't have it yet. There's our graphics card driver. But we will have a WD device. So I'll install Acronis for WD. So that allows you to do make images of your drives, and so if you have Western Digital drives, you can use it like to or from a Western Digital drive, and you can use it for free. The full version of Acronis is a subscription service. And Gigabyte App Center
We can put Ryzen Master on there. It's mainly for overclocking and stuff. You don't really need it. But it's like software that'll, works with your Ryzen CPU, so.
They're all covered, they're both covered up.
Alright, so this CPU-Z is just some information about your computer. I'll tell you some fun facts. Crystal disk info and disk mark. Does the same thing but for your storage devices. Crystal disk info will tell you, like, how much life your storage drives have, so you can stop guessing about how they're doing. So this is firmware. This is just for the stress test. There's no other purpose. GeForce Experience. Hardware monitor. Shows you all the temperatures and stuff. We don't have any other Corsair other than the RAM, so we can probably get away with not installing iQ. RGB Fusion, which is the Gigabyte software, should talk to it. MSI Afterburner and Reaver Tuner, handy software to do with your graphics card this time. Origin, that's just EA games. So install Office 365. You can use it in a limited capacity for free. The full version of it is a subscription, but I install it on everyone's computer anyway, because you can use it for free. So. Crucial Storage Executive. This is the software that comes with your SSDs. Alrighty, so as you can see, this PC meets Windows 11 requirements, so you can upgrade for free if you want. Oh shit. I'm so fucking sorry. I've had the wrong cable plugged in this whole time and we haven't been streaming what's on the fucking desktop. And because she's gone away, I don't think fuck. Well, that's annoying, right? That's just fucking embarrassing, man. Problem is I see my screen light up and I think everything's all good. That's why I need to have someone with me, not running away playing with the dogs. Alright, well, all the crap I've been talking about is actually installed. Fuck me dead. I'm so sorry, Trevor. Alrighty. Fuck. Alright. Fucking hell. After all that shit. Oh, Trevor, mate, I don't know whether to laugh or cry, mate.
You should put one of the fluffy. You should put one of those
Well, if you actually bared with me, up in the corner of the fucking screen there, with a black screen all that time, all the shit that I talked about, I definitely did. Definitely not a scam.
What happened?
The whole time I was on, I had the wrong cable plugged into the monitor. So there's nothing coming through on that.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. So I've been talking shit up in the top corner of the screen with a black screen.
Oh no. Oh. That's a bit shit.
It's a bit shit, but what do you do? At least we're, we've done all the boring shit. Turn off all this annoying shit that starts up automatically. I'm sure we can decide what we want to use when we turn on our computer the first time. We've got some final updates there from Gigabyte. Good thing going on. And then yes, our PC is all set up and ready to go. So I'll show you the apps that I installed. So we got CPU Z here. This will tell you handy information about your CPU, motherboard, memory, speeds, graphics card. That you do a bench test. You can submit and compare your system to other systems. Yeah, for fun. Just helpful information if ever you want to know what your CPU is or any of the technical stuff there. All the main stuff's there and handy app. Hardware monitor, I'll open this up now. This shows us all of our temperatures, voltages, clock speeds, usage percentages and stuff like that for all of our hardware. So that's really handy to have there. Crucial Storage Executive, that's an app there that comes with the SSDs. Crystal Disk Info, this will show you a whole heap of stuff about your storage device. Just give it a second to open there. It's like a scan tool for your car, but for your storage devices. Logs all the stuff there in hex values. That gives you a health status there. Crystal Disk Mark. This is like similar, but this is just about testing the speeds. So the software that comes with the Crucial SSD speeds it up. So I'll run a speed test on it quickly.
might be a little bit faster because we're downloading and installing some stuff there in the background, but it'll still be way faster than stock. GeForce Experience, that's to keep your graphics card drivers up to date. Go in there, make an account, and get the latest drivers from them at all times. So if there's problems with a certain game, they'll release the latest updates there as soon as they've got them. So it's the best way to stay up to date. Google Chrome's just, that's the #1 web browser, so I put it on there so it's not just a one browser option. Heaven benchmark, Valley benchmark, Superposition benchmark, we're going to have a look at them soon. And MSI Afterburner, that's this app here. And this does a few things. It lets you play around with your graphics card if you want, but it lets you adjust the fan speed and stuff for your graphics card, and it also has the Reva Tuner statistics overlay, which is this font. When you see me on other builds, you might have seen me running benchmarks with the stats overlaid. That's this app here. So that's kind of part of MSI Afterburner there. And so yeah, there's those speeds that I was talking about there, much faster than stock. And looks like we've finished installing the rest of that. Alrighty. So let's just see if RGB Fusion will talk to our Corsair RAM. It should do. If not, I'll just install the Corsair software as well, so you can adjust the color of the RAM as well. No, it's not looking like it will. What a pain in the ass. That's okay. So there's our SSD speeds there, much faster than stock. Yes, I don't mind the overlay here. It's just detecting Corsair IQ as like a game, basically. You can turn it on and off at any time by hitting Control F10. Alright, there's nothing else I've missed here. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got everything. So yeah, over here in hardware monitor, this is, I just leave this open to log all of the temperatures while we do all this. So yeah, we've got our graphics card, so the GPU can go up to 83 degrees, memory and hotspot up to 100 degrees, and up here with our CPU, so it can go up to 95 degrees. Sweet. It's all looking up to date. So let's get started with our benchmarks. So I'll run Heaven here, high, just a second, with no anti-aliasing, so this is just the out-of-the-box settings for this. And so everything up here should be self-explanatory, and this number here below RAM is how many frames a second it's currently running at. Alrighty, so that was Valley. That was Heaven. This is Valley. And we'll run this one on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. So this is a more demanding benchmark, and we're going to run it on higher settings. Alrighty, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. And the final one we run is Superposition on 4K resolution. Alrighty, so that was superposition at 4K.
Tim,
Yeah.
Trevor wants to know which one is the frames per second.
Oh, the frames per second's the value there below RAM. Okay, so everything's behaved itself temperature-wise. Yep. But that's not really the test. This is the test. Alrighty. Alright, so this is what's going on. Get 12 blue boxes here drawing that image in the background. There's the 12 blue boxes, their CPU there in Windows Task Manager. So our CPU is fully utilized, and our graphics card down the bottom there is also fully utilized. And so this is just designed to generate quite a lot of heat. So let this run for 90 minutes, see how hot it gets, make sure it's running alright, and then I know I can be confident that I can send it off to you, and nothing that you do to it is going to make it get as hot as what it will get over the next 90 minutes. So while that's running, we log all the temperatures here in hardware monitor. So for our graphics card and for our CPU. And so yeah, that's pretty much the end of the night now, because yeah, it gets a bit boring just watching these values and stuff from here. After it's run for like a couple of minutes, you can sort of tell how hot it's going to get after, like, you know, half an hour or so. But part of the reason why we let it run for the full 90 minutes is just in case, like, when things heat up and they sort of expand a little bit, right? So something could be fine until it expands, and then something's not quite right with one of the components. So I want to make it sort of fail for me now, because it's much easier for me to replace a part now than by the time I ship it off to Trevor. So that's part of what the stress test's all about. But yeah, that's pretty much where we leave it for the end of the night. Theonor says the furry donut is more interesting than a black screen. Absolutely. Yeah, once again, I am really sorry about that, guys. Yeah, unfortunately I got two cables that look pretty similar around the back here, and I've just mixed up one for the other. And because I've seen it come up on my screen there, I've just gone, yep, everything's all fine. No problems at all. Anyway, or I might get, if Christine's back there, she can put me back to full screen and I'll sign off for the night. So thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.